Well, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us virtually online. My name's Jodie. I come from an organisation called Travellers Aid. I'm sure there's going to be a few people watching this that have heard of us before. And for those who haven't, I hope that we can teach you something about what we do for you to be able to get out and about a little bit more in Melbourne and in regional areas as well. So, who is Travellers Aid? We're an organisation that's been around for a really long time. Some of you may know that we've been around for over 100 years, but we're all about enabling people with mobility challenges to connect, engage, and participate. This used to be just more so at train stations and around CBD areas, but as I go on, I'll explain a little bit more about the new services that we are offering. We are at Southern Cross train station, Flinders Street, Ballarat and Seymour train station. We have things like mobility equipment hire, personal care at both Southern Cross and at Flinders Street. We have a companion program, which is about getting people out and about to those appointments and also to social events in Melbourne. New things that we have been doing is events and public transport disruptions. So you may have seen us around on the transport networks all across Victoria now when we're assisting V-Line, Metro trains and things, but I'll go into a little bit more about that shortly. So how it all started. We've been around since 1916. A very, very long time. We did start originally assisting women and children when they were coming to Melbourne to find work or accommodation whilst the men were away in the war. Women were starting to travel to Melbourne. They needed a job. They needed to be able to support their families while their husbands were away. And that's where our women, as you can see in this photo, would step in and support women to make sure that they felt safe while they were traveling with us. That year, a group of women formed Travellers Aid. So in 1916, completely run by volunteers of women who were about enabling and supporting. They were there to meet women and children and make sure they were safe. And a lot of the time that was coming from Station Pier or into the old Spencer Street train station and Flinders Street train station. So we've been around for a really, really long time. Things have definitely evolved since 1916. We help and support everybody that comes into Melbourne now, not just women and children. But we still have the same core values, and that's about making sure that when people do travel for fun or because they're tourists or they just want to come into Melbourne for work, then that they can do so safe, knowing that they've got some support from us if they do need it. So our locations, we've got a few little pictures up here, and I'll run through exactly where we are. So at Southern Cross train station, it's always a little bit tricky to explain where we are here. But if you imagine we're at Southern Cross train station, you're heading down towards maybe where the coach terminal is, the Sky Bus, or where you would check bags in to go on long haul services. We're just down underneath the Burke Street Bridge from under there. You will see a big blue and white Travellers Aid sign illuminated, and just follow the signs. So things that we offer there is a buggy assistance, a companion service. We have a lounge area with a TV. A lot of people don't use just the buggy or the companion. Some people just come and wait with us in our lounge area because they know it's a lot safer to do so. There's always a staff member there from 6:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night. So if you do have a little bit of a wait, it's a little bit safer to come wait with us. And then you can use our facilities, so our bathrooms and things as well. We have baby and adult change facilities and ceiling hoists, showers, mobility equipment hire, and we are a mobility equipment recharge point as well. So things like the showers, a lot of the time people that use those showers that come in are people that have come off a long haul flight or a long haul train ride, just need to freshen up before they move on to the next leap of their journey. But also we do assist a lot of people that are sleeping rough and that are homeless in Melbourne, and they can come in for discounted showers knowing that it's a nice, clean facility for them to use. So this is our little buggies. We have three of these buggies actually at Southern Cross train station. And as you can see on the back, we have a big tray that can assist people with moving around their luggage. We can also put manual wheelchairs in there, and we can put in walkers if somebody's using a walker. and then we would assist you to get onto the back seat to be able to driven from one end of the station to the next. A good example of this is if you're coming in on a V-line train and say you land on platform 16 and you need to get all the way to platform 1, or even just to Spencer Street just to catch a taxi, that's a really, really long walk for a lot of people. So what you do is give us a call the day before. You give us a few of your details and we let you know that we'll be there to pick you up, and we'll drive you from one end of the station to where you need to go to next. You can, if you've had a bit of a change in your plans and then suddenly you are dropped off on a platform you weren't expecting, you can either give us a call then, or let a conductor know if there is one around that you need a bit of help to get across, and we will drive down and pick you up. But we do encourage people to give us a call the day before, just so that you're on our booking sheet for the day and you don't have to wait too long. We do go underground, so we do go a little bit of an easier way around. We actually use the old Spencer Street walkways. They're still there, but they're just there for us to be able to drive around. We can go onto metro platforms, V-line platforms, down into the coach bays. So there's no place we can't go as long as we stay within the insides of the train station. This is a free of charge service and is run by staff and volunteers as well. We do crisis travel. So some people may be facing a situation where they don't have any money to get home to where they live and where they feel safe. This could be because they're on, say, government payments and it has run out, they've lost, or they've had their wallet stolen and they don't have a travel fare to get home. You can come in and see us and we would just fill out a little bit of paperwork and would be able to assist you to get anywhere within Victoria. This program is funded partly through V-line with V-line vouchers, but also a lot of the community come in and donate their MyKey cards that, they've only come to Melbourne for a quick holiday. They're not going to need the MyKey anymore and it has $20 on it. So instead of that going to waste, they'll come and donate them into us, and then we can assist people to get to where they need to go to next. At Flinders Street train station, you can see here, it's a little bit brighter. We've been at Flinders Street train station now since 2009, so quite a long time. You may remember back many moons ago, we were located on Swanston Street. Well, when Swanston Street office, we needed to move out of there, we thought, oh, where are we going to go? Well, we thought, you know what? Let's try to see if we can get back into Flinders Street, because over 100 years ago, we used to have an office at Flinders Street as well. So once Swanston Street closed, we opened up our office at Flinders Street. So this office has a lounge and rest area, baby change and adult change facilities, as well as ceiling hoist. We do run our companion service out of there. An added bonus of things we do there is short-term luggage storage. So if you're coming into Melbourne and you've got a little while to check into a hotel, or you've been staying overnight and you've got a little time to kill before you head home the next day and you don't want to carry your bags around, you can leave them with us for a few hours. And I'm pretty sure, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it starts from about $6 per bag for the whole day. We also do mobility equipment hire, and we are a mobility equipment recharge point as well. We're there 7 days a week from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. Another thing that we offer, and we have been doing this since the early 1980s, is personal care for people with disabilities. All of our frontline staff, myself included, are qualified disability support workers. And the way in which this started in the 80s is people were being deinstitutionalized, which was fantastic. But a lot of people didn't want to stay at home. They wanted to get out and they wanted to get about. And there was nowhere for people to go to be able to go to the bathroom or to have a meal without any support. So the ladies at our old cafe on Swanston Street thought, it's all right, we'll be able to help them. So they would start taking people to the bathroom and helping people with meals. So in the 80s, the CEO at the time decided we should try to get some funding so we can make this a program for people to come in. So still to this day, anybody that needs personal care assistance or assistance with a meal can come in to Traveller's Aid without a booking, completely free of charge, and our staff will be able to assist you. At Flinders Street, we generally have 2 staff on between the hours of 11 and 5, and that means that we can assist more and more people. It's getting less busy now since we've had NDIS roll out and people actually have more funding to have more staff with them. But we still do see a lot of people coming in that don't want to run around with a carer all day or a support worker. So, on their way into work for the day, they pop in, see us. We, can help them go to the bathroom quickly, tidy up their hair before they head off to work. And then they'll come back and do the same thing on the way home. So all of our staff are fully trained, and we do have regulars that come in on a daily basis, but then we also just have people that pop in here or there. Another great thing to remember with this is if people are traveling and they've only got one support staff, and they may need 2 to be able to use the bathroom, so a hoist transfer onto the adult change table, the staff can actually just ask one of our staff members to give them a hand as well. And it's completely free of charge, and that's what our staff are there for every day of the week. So at Ballarat train station, this is our newest office. We've been running there for just over 12 months. We don't have a buggy service, unfortunately, just because of the layout of that station. It is a heritage listed train station. In the near future, we hope that it will be renovated at some point to be able to have lifts and things. At this stage, there is no lifts. So for people to get from platform 1 to platform 2, they do have to use that big overpass that goes over the top, which is very steep stairs. So what we've done is put a staff member down there with 2 volunteers, and we can help people getting around by using wheelchairs. Some people may not want to actually use the wheelchair, but they just need an extra set of hands to help with their bags to get from platform 1 to 2, or they need to get to the airport bus or out to a taxi. We do encourage bookings for this, but we're always there from 7:30 a.m. till 3:30. And our fantastic coordinator down at that location, Rachel, will go out and she will meet every single train that's coming in during those hours, or one of her volunteers. They're always wandering around, just checking in to see if anybody needs any support, and they're there to answer any of your questions. They work really, really closely with the V-Line staff as well. Another good point, if you are coming from Ballarat, is if they help you there, then they can also give us a call in Melbourne and say, hey, I've got Mrs. Smith. I've just put her on the 10:30 a.m. arrival. Can you meet her when she pulls in? And then we go, yep, that's fine. And when we get down there, we help Mrs. Smith onto the buggy and then off where we go. At Seymour train station, we've been there for quite a while now. Originally, we started there. Seymour station was having a bit of work done around at their coach bays, and they thought, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare. So they asked Traveller's Aid to assist with a buggy, and we did. And then when that program was up, we were about to leave, and the locals went, nope, we need to keep them because this train station's really tricky to get around. It may be small in comparison to, say, Ballarat train station, but it is a very long and steep ramp to get up to platforms and to the coach bays. So we do actually have a buggy there, and the buggy can meet people on the platform and take them up and around up to the coach bays and vice versa, or to the taxi bays and pickups. We do encourage bookings for this service as well, just so we know the amount of people we have for the day. But Marg, who is the coordinator down there, she will do the same as Rachel in Ballarat and drive along the platforms and keep an eye out to see if people do need support. And we are 8:30 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. If there are special events going on in Seymour, say on a weekend, and there may be a need, we might have a lot more people coming into the station, then we can adjust our hours to that need as well. So mobility equipment hire, we do this at Flinders Street and we do this at Southern Cross train station. So we have an array of equipment now. We have electric scooters, manual wheelchairs, power wheelchairs, travel scooters, prams, strollers, walking frames, forearm crutches, walking sticks. So all the equipment can be hired out for a day rate or a weekly rate, depending on what you need it for. All of the large equipment, so the scooters and the wheelchairs, you do need to put down $100 deposit, but that $100 deposit will be returned when you return the equipment and it's still in good working order. And I think off the top of my head, I should have looked at this before we started. It's around $40 for the day. And as I said, if you hire, say, from Southern Cross, we open at 6:30 in the morning and we close at 9:30. So you could have that equipment until 9 p.m. that night as well. So it makes things a little bit easier. Say, if you're somebody that doesn't use a device all the time, but there's something in Melbourne you want to come see or do, then you can get off the train at Southern Cross. We can pick you up in our buggy, bring you back to our office, and then off you go on a device for the day. And at Flinders Street, we can do the same. Obviously, we don't have a buggy at Flinders Street, but we can assist you to get up to the office and then fill out the paperwork and then off you go. So the Participation Assistance Program was formerly called the Companion Program. It started around 10 years ago now, and it was all about encouraging people to come from regional and country Victoria to make sure that they got to their medical appointments. We found after doing some research that some people were missing out on their appointments because they were based in Melbourne because there was no way for them to get there. We know that patient transport, Red Cross, flying doctors, everybody's a bit stretched at the moment. So if you are able to use public transport to get to Melbourne, then we would assist you from one of those meeting points at Flinders Street or Southern Cross train station and take you to your appointment in Melbourne. A lot of people are okay on the actual train itself. It's just once they get to Melbourne, they think, oh gosh, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know the tram network. Well, this is where our volunteers take away all that stress. They plan how you're going to get there. They will wait for you and they will make sure that they get you back to the train station and you get on the right service to head home. It used to only just be for medical appointments, but now we've expanded that out to social events, work, school, anything and everything that someone may need to get to within that Melbourne area. And we do the outer suburbs as well. So if somebody needs to get to, say, Clayton Medical Centre, then we can assist with that as well. We really do encourage at least a week's notice. It used to be 2 to 3 days, but just like a lot of other not-for-profits, we are trying to increase our volunteer base at the moment. So if you are needing some sort of support and you know what time your appointment's going to be or where you need to be, give us a call the week before, or you could submit an online request and then we will organise a volunteer to be able to get you there. As you can see in this picture on this screen, that's Lee, one of our volunteers, and she actually attended a netball game with a client and her daughter as well. They just needed that little bit of extra support to be able to get to the arena and whilst they were there. So the newest programs that we do is events and public transport disruptions. So we'll run through this. So over the last few years, we have been at the Australian Open, the Flower and Garden Show, Moomba, St Kilda Festival, and the Grand Prix. So the way in which this works is you can see our little buggy in the picture, is that these events, we're all about assisting people once they're getting close to that event, how do they get to the next side of the event? So a good example is Flower and Garden Show. People come in by tram, or they come in, they drive, but let's say they catch the tram in. We will have somebody at that tram stop with a manual wheelchair that will be able to push them over to where the garden show is. And then one of our volunteers will be driving a buggy and they'll be able to drive them into where the entrance is. And then you can go off your merry way for the day throughout the Flower and Garden Show. But the extra part that we do there is we hire out mobility equipment. So ahead of time, you give us a call or an online booking and you book in a piece of mobility equipment and you can make your way that whole day at that event on a scooter or a wheelchair. But the best part about it is that we do have this buggy that can get people from, say, the public car park to the main entrance, or to the tram stop, and vice versa. So some people have been okay during the day, they've felt okay, they can move around. But then that last little bit of walking from that entrance all the way to the car park is a little bit too much. But that's where we would come in with the buggy. We run it the exact same way at the Australian Open. But we also have what we call roamers at these events, and they're people that are stationed in certain areas that have mobility equipment, and they can push people for that short amount of time to get to, one gate to the next gate. These, to be able to be assisted around with the buggy or the wheelchairs, we don't need a booking, but we do very much encourage bookings for mobility equipment hire, especially for the flower and garden show. That is definitely the biggest one that we do every year. But the new one we have done this year is the Grand Prix, and we'll be continuing to do that. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So we're also doing smaller community events as well. Some local councils reach out to us and say, hey, we've got this event, but we know it's going to be a long walk for people to get from the car park all the way to the event. Would you be able to help us out with some buggies or some wheelchairs? And then we organise how we can actually help. We do public transport disruptions. So if you do use public transport, you would know it's a bit of a nightmare of late with all these disruptions and track works and rail loops going in, and they're removing, the crossings everywhere. And sometimes from where a train stops or a coach stops to the next spot where you need to get to can be quite a long distance. And that's where we come in. So a good example of that is they were putting in, I think it was Anzac Station. They're still working on that down on St Kilda Road. And Yarra Trams was going to be disrupted for a good 3 weeks, which meant people could not get to the hospital there, to the Alfred Hospital, if they couldn't walk the distance. So what we did is we put a buggy in place from where the last tram could actually get people. That was it. Everyone got kicked off the tram from there. And we would wait there, and we'd have our buggy, and it would go up and down so people could get to their hospital appointments. And then when they extended that disruption a little bit further down the road, down near the market, we actually put on a minibus to be able to help people get from the hospital down to where the market was in a minibus. None of the disruptions need bookings. They're just, we have staff there depending on the need, to be able to help people around with manual wheelchairs and with buggies as well. We've also been doing it at Sunbury train station. They have a few issues sometimes with lifts, or they're having work. So we have what we call our baby buggy, which only takes one passenger at a time. It's a cute little buggy, but it's one that's able to get up and down all those tight ramps and get people from the metro train over to a V-line train and vice versa as well. So you'll see us more and more along the network in different areas. Most recently, we finished up at Clayton train station because there was no public buses or cars being able to be driven down Clayton Road from the train station to the hospital. And that was because they're removing for the metro tunnel loop. So what we did is we had a buggy stationed at Clayton train station, and it would do the loop from the station to Monash Medical Centre and back 7 days a week. And that was to make sure that people didn't miss their medical appointments because they got off the train and then suddenly there was no buses running. So finally, we, as I said, we'll just run through a few of our contact details, and they're up on the slide for you. We're at Southern Cross Travellers Aid. It says 99 Spencer Street, but do you know what? Just think we're underneath the Burke Street Bridge within the train station. Much, much easier. And we are open from 6:30 until 9:30 at night. Flinders Street train station. We're inside the actual train station, and we're just above platforms 9 and 10. We are hidden away in the corner a little bit. If you look for the signs, it's always a little bit tricky to look for us. If you can't find us, just ask somebody on the concourse that works there. A Metro staff member will be able to point you in the right direction. Seymour train station. We don't have a little office there. We just have our buggies. But you'll be able to see us if you come during those work times, and you'll see us driving around on the platforms. And at Ballarat, the same situation as Seymour. We don't have a public office, but whenever a train is arriving or departing, we will have our staff and volunteers down there as well. So I hope this answered everybody's questions. I know I can't ask you any questions. You can't ask me any questions at the moment, but please check out our website, travellersaid.org.au, for any other questions. It's a great website, and you can book all of our services on the website as well if you need to. Or give us a call, and I'm sure any of the staff members that pick up the phone will be able to assist you with any of your questions. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening. Bye.